Hi everyone, it's Anthony. I am here with another video. Today I wanted to go through all of my March empties. We're coming up to the end of the month and I've got a few products here that I was able to finish up or am moving out of my routine at the end of this month and switching to something else. So I just wanted to go through all of these empties with you and just kind of give my final thoughts on them before they head out of my routine, or if they're already empty, head to the recycling bin. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first product that I wanted to share with you is an oil cleanser. I'm just going to go through them as I would use them in my routine. This is the Biossance Squalene Plus Antioxidant Cleanser. This product made an appearance in my last Get Unready with Me video. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and take a look at that video. I kind of go into some details and actually apply it to my skin so you can get a better idea of what it's like as far as consistency. But it's a fairly thin, super fluid oil cleanser that features squalane. It also has a whole bunch of different citrus and fruit extracts and oils. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is there is some essential oil here. Evening primrose oil makes it onto the list, orange peel oil, moringa seed oil. You've also got sunflower seed oil in here too. So personally, I really liked this oil cleanser. I felt like even though it has that really smooth and lightweight feeling, it gives a ton of slide. It doesn't soak into the skin. So you get that kind of slippery, oil feeling. It just makes it a little bit more comfortable to do an oil cleanse, in my opinion. And I felt like it really emulsified and rinsed cleanly while still leaving some natural hydration and moisture behind. So it wasn't overly stripping or overly cleansing, but it also wasn't super gentle, so it felt like it wasn't doing anything. It had a nice balance. It actually was one of my more favorite oil cleansers that I have used. However, because of the citrus oils and citrus-based kind of fragrance ingredients in here, I wasn't a super big fan of that citrusy kind of scent. It almost verged on like a floor cleaner or like a Pine Sol or a citrus cleanser kind of scent, but it wasn't, it didn't tip the scale where I disliked it, but it wasn't my favorite, I'll just say that. So I think if I was in a bind and I wasn't able to get a hold of some of the Korean oil cleansers that I would normally fall to, and I needed to just run to Sephora and grab something, I mean, can't do that now, but if I was in a situation where I could just run to the store and grab something last second, then I would probably pick this one, or Ulta now carries Vanilla Co. So in a bind, I might go get the Vanilla Co. Clean at Zero Balm. But if I got to pick any oil cleanser, I would be going for the Then I Met You, the Living Cleansing Balm. I really like the Aromatica Natural Coconut Cleansing Oil and the Aromatica Orange Sherbet Cleansing Balm as well, or Cleansing Sherbet. I forget how they named that, but those three I think are my top three right now. So that's that for that. The next product that I emptied out was the Kosar X Low pH Good Morning Gel Cleanser. This one I used for about 6 weeks, and then the excess ended up making it into my hand soap bottle. Not because it was terrible, but I was ready to move on to something else and I needed to find a use for it. So this one features a little bit of natural BHA. It's got fermented ingredients in here too, evening primrose extract. But the big thing is that it's pH balanced. I felt personally that it was just gentle enough to get by. I could see how people would find this to be a little bit drying or stripping. And it does have tea tree oil, which can be a potential irritant to some people, but it also can act as an antibacterial or anti-acne ingredient for others. So it's really about finding if it's something that your skin can tolerate. Those with super dry and sensitive skin probably isn't going to be your best place to start. But if you have combination oily, acne prone skin and you're just looking for a cleanser that can help to alleviate some of that excess oil, help to kind of work at some of that excess sebum, then this is a good, and to be honest, it's a really affordable option. So I personally don't mind it because my skin type is kind of geared towards this type of product, but I can see why a lot of people wouldn't be the biggest fan of this. It has, once again, kind of like a citrusy, piney, kind of like household cleaner kind of scent, but not so intense that I didn't mind it. Of course, you might have a different opinion, but this one was okay. I don't think I would go back to it. Maybe if I needed to really, really look at my skincare budget and keep things as tight as possible, and I didn't really have funds to do something else, then I would probably come back to this one. But other than that, I prefer the Youth to the People Superfood Cleanser. It has a similar texture, but it's a lot more approachable for more skin types and more gentle, and it's just better formulated. So I think that would be the one that I would pick in place of this. And that one's a pretty good deal. I think you get like 300 milliliters of that product. I'll have to check, but you get a pretty decent size of the Youth to the People Cleanser, and it's just a better product in general as far as formulation. So there's that one. The next product that I have is actually going to be a wash-off mask. This is from REP, which is a sister brand of Neogen, and I'm not going to be able to get that focus. It's the BioFresh mask with real calming herbs. Maybe if I like dip out. There you go. BioFresh mask with real calming herbs. This is a clay-based or a kaolin clay-based wash-off mask that is not necessarily geared towards refining the skin or clarifying or removing impurities necessarily. It's more about soothing and calming. So you have calendula extract and chamomile extract, and then you actually have little bits of the chamomile and calendula in the mask. So as you apply it, you can see the little bits and pieces. I think I used this in my Get Unready video as well. I have had this mask for months and months. I'd probably maybe like 4 or 5 months. But then the past like month or so, I really burned through the rest of it because I've just been experiencing some sensitivity to my skin, some redness. I've got a couple like breakouts that have been happening. So I've really been reaching for this a little bit more often to kind of keep everything calm and happy. And so that's why I ended up going through the rest of it this month. I love it. It's one of those masks, those clay masks that doesn't dry and get hard and crack as it dries. So you only leave it on for about 10 minutes. It's still totally damp and soft. And then as you rinse it, you can see how much of the extracts and the watery hydration and soothing ingredients have been absorbed into the skin. Your skin is just left looking really, really calm and soothed while being really hydrated and plumped as well. So this is one that I will continue to come back to unless I find another clay mask that kind of blows it out of the water. But this one has been such a staple in my routine since this past fall, and I'm kind of bummed. I am using a new clay mask, so I'm hoping that it does really well. It has a lot of good reviews, but if you have sensitive skin or even, dry to normal skin, combination skin, I think this would be a really good option. Those with oily skin that are looking for something to really kind of suck that excess oil and that excess sebum out of the skin, those like tighter, maybe like hard clay masks, this isn't going to be your jam because it's very gentle and it stays pretty damp and hydrated as it's on. But you could use this alternately with something like that if you are trying to address redness and irritation or inflammation. You can still work this into your routine, just it's not going to be that purifying mask that you might be hoping for. So another awesome one. I'm curious to try the rest of this brand too. I have 2 more of their products in my stash that I'm excited to try. So you'll probably be seeing a lot more of this brand REP for my upcoming routine videos and reviews. So Outside of that, all I have left are sunscreens and sheet masks. I didn't go through toners and essences super quickly. They're going to be going into next month. My serums will be going into next month, and a lot of my exfoliating products will be going into next month as well. I don't have a lot of empties from those yet. So, but I burned through sunscreen pretty quickly. So let's talk about those. I've already reviewed this one and talked about it a couple times. This is the Crave Beauty. I wish that would focus, but whatever. The Beet Shield from Crave Beauty. I love this product. It's a really, really nicely formulated sunscreen. It has beetroot, allantoin, vitamin C, and resveratrol, which is a really nice antioxidant. So it's got high antioxidants. It's got some brightening ingredients, some brightening qualities as well, and some decent protection. I think the Korean equivalent, the Beat the Sun, is SPF like 47 and maybe PA 3 or 4 pluses. I forget exactly what the protection is, but it's fairly high. This is a 50 milliliter bottle. You get it for 20 bucks. This is, I think, the third bottle that I've used, and it was the first and only product from Crave Beauty that I was using until fairly recently. But I love that it doesn't really have a white cast. I can apply this really easily, reapply it several layers throughout the day. I don't notice, it doesn't have any added fragrance, so it's not super intensely scented or uncomfortable on the skin. Doesn't really leave any sort of residue behind, but gives a nice glow. So I think this is one of, it was my favorite sunscreen of last year, but it's probably going to continue to be on my top list going into 2020. So this is one that I'll consistently repurchase. So there's that. And some sunscreens that didn't perform so well. This is the La Roche-Posay. This is their Anthelios, Melt and Milk Sunscreen SPF 100. So I was just more curious about this product because of the whole SPF 100. I was curious to see what that consistency would be like, if I would notice any additional protection. I know that the difference between protection levels from 50 to 100 doesn't seem that drastic on paper. I think one protects against 7% of all UVA and UVB rays, and the other one's 98%. So what's that difference in percentage? So the way it was explained to me is why you might want to consider 100 SPF or a higher SPF is, that difference is when you think about the difference between 1% difference and 2% difference, it's twice as effective. So it's less letting half the amount of rays that the SPF 50 penetrate into your skin, with that 100. So you just have to look at it in the reverse and think, okay, well, it is twice as effective, even though it's only a 1% difference. So I just wanted to try it out. I was just kind of experimenting with non-Korean brands. I didn't like it. It was very thick, very heavy consistency, and very kind of greasy and shiny on my skin. So it definitely left a thick layer behind, and I definitely had this really oily kind of greasy glow. And it smells just like your normal sunscreen. I have just a teensy bit left, so I think I can show you guys on my hand. So there's that. So it doesn't leave a white cast because this is all chemical filters. So that is nice, but it was just too heavy and uncomfortable to be used on the face. I ended up just finishing this up on my arms and my hands, and on my body it's totally fine. I don't have that big of an issue with it, and on camera it doesn't look that bad, but once you get out in the sun and it starts to heat up and it just kind of gets a little oily, it's just not the most comfortable sunscreen to have on. And I didn't notice like a reduction in my dark spots or hyperpigmentation by upgrading to an SPF 100, at least not anything significant in the time that I used it. So I think I'm an SPF 50 guy unless someone can change my mind on that. It's totally fine to use on the body. If you have super dry and dehydrated skin that can really soak up some of this residue, then you might be okay with it, but there's just a lot better products as far as compatibility with skin on the face compared to the body, because this is supposed to be used for both. But it's nice that it's fragrance-free, just smells like your typical sunscreen, your pharmacy brand sunscreen, you know, something that you pick up at Walgreens, like a Copper Tone or Hawaiian Tropic. It all kind of smells the same. And then we've got this is the Cell Fusion C Cure Sunscreen 100 SPF 50 plus PA+++, the world's longest sunscreen name. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah, it's not gonna work. So yeah, that's what this one is. This is one that was recommended by Edward Avila. I was watching his channel and he's mentioned this sunscreen a couple of times, so I decided to go for it. I like the fact that it doesn't have a white cast and it is a rather thin formula. It is kind of a watery product. However, I was talking to some Facebook group members about it, so that's it kind of massaged in. I don't know if I got a bad batch or I don't know what the deal is, but this sunscreen, even after I shake it, you can see that it has this blue color because it has Azelene in it. It almost kind of separates, so when I squeeze it out, I'll see like big splotches of the dark blue stuff, and then other pieces will be really watery. It almost looks like an emulsion where the oil and the water have started to separate. It's not expired or anything. It just is a really weird consistency. When I squeeze it out, it just starts to immediately kind of separate. Beyond that, this product has a very intense fragrance, and that, and combined with the alcohol, almost makes it smell like a hairspray. It's just too fragrant, and even then it doesn't cover up the alcohol in here. It ends up just smelling really, really potent and too much. It's kind of like just smells like a cheap perfume. You can smell that alcohol coming through. Besides that, I didn't feel like it really absorbed into my skin. It always left kind of a residue behind, and it wasn't oily or greasy, even though it looks like it. It's almost just like a film, like a really odd kind of film. It's not tacky or sticky. It just leaves this kind of saran wrapped look to my face. And after applying several layers of this throughout the day, my skin, especially in my temple area, like right here, would start to feel kind of tight, almost like I had been out in the sun too long, almost like I wasn't wearing a sunscreen, like things got dry and a little tight. So I don't know, this just wasn't, for me, this was not my favorite product. It's one of my least favorite chemical sunscreens that I've used. And I'm kind of bummed because I think this one was like $27 on Joel's where I picked it up. So I'm bummed that I spent so much money on 50 milliliters of what kind of smells just like a hairspray cream. So I'm not a fan of that one. And then lastly, we have the Thank You Farmer Safe Sun Fluid age 0880. This is a mineral sunscreen, SPF 50 plus PA 4 pluses. I picked this one up because it was part of a 1+1 deal on Joel's last month, so I ended up getting 2 of them. I'm always wary about mineral sunscreens because I have a darker skin tone, so I tend to get hit with the white cast no matter what mineral sunscreen I use. But from what I was reading on their product page and the few reviews that I found of this, people said that this one had a very minimal white cast. It was very mild. I might be able to get away with it. So I think I paid $17 for 2. So I was like, all right, well, that's 2. And these are big bottles. So you get 100 milliliters each. So 200 milliliters of sunscreen. It's like, let's go for it. If it works, that's awesome. That's such a good value. If not, then maybe I can use it on my arms or on my body. And I'll show you, it's just a normal white creamy sunscreen. This one also has kind of a normal sunscreen scent, but there is like a powdery kind of floral fragrance as well. It's not nearly as offensive as the Cell Fusion. But as with most mineral sunscreens, I ended up with a pretty gnarly white cast from this. If I still have the pictures, I don't know, I might have to insert one because I went outside with a full layer of this on and it wasn't pretty. So it's pretty heavily, it gives me a pretty moderate to heavy white cast. Not something I could go outside with and socialize, but we're not really in that kind of situation right now, so maybe, who knows. I can quarantine with this sunscreen and no one's gonna bat an eye that I'm walking around looking like Casper. But it's not ideal. I can kind of get away with it after about 5 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes, that does kind of dissipate a little bit. So I think I could use it on my arms, even though it doesn't look like I could, fairly easily, or even just if I've got, like right now, today I have my my UPF, my SPF protecting little hoodie on. And so it's got the little hand grip. So I could probably get this onto my hands and fingers and no one would really be looking there. So I'll find a use for it. If not, I might find someone in my family or friend group that has more fair skin. And once we're allowed to see each other face to face, maybe I can share some of these products with them. But as it stands, this is another mineral sunscreen that just isn't going to work for darker skin tones. It would have been such a winner. Even now, it's a little bit better, but it would have been such an incredible value had it worked out. But oh well. So that's that for all of the like regular routine products. What I've got left for you is sheet masks, and I'm just gonna burn through these because I use a lot of sheet masks. Sometimes I use 1 a day, sometimes I use 2 a day, sometimes I only use a couple a week. It really just depends, but since I've been inside and working from home, I've had more of an opportunity just to like layer on those hydrating sheet masks like there's no tomorrow. So I've got a few to get through. I'll start with the ones that I did not like. We'll just get through those really quickly. I had the full set of the Monde. These are the Flower Lab Essence masks. I got through the Magnolia and Rose. I've got 5 others in my stash, but I just couldn't get past the scents. You know, I expected there to be some floral scents here and there. The Magnolia wasn't that bad, but the Rose was pretty intense. And just from these two, I wasn't seeing great results, just some basic hydration. And even though one is geared towards brightening and one's geared towards moisturizing, I didn't feel that much of a difference, even though the consistency of the essence is different. They both just kind of felt the same. And at the end of the day, I wasn't interested to continue testing these super florally sheet masks, even though, like I said, you kind of sign up for that when you're talking about a product from Monde, but it just wasn't for me. So I'm going to give the other ones away eventually when I can, but I ended up pulling out of reviewing this whole set because I just wasn't into it. This MetaHeal Air Packing Pink Wrap Mask is one that I picked up from Walgreens last year. Very interesting design in that it has like a triple layer mask that's supposed to lock in the hydration and not let anything evaporate out through the mask fabric. So it has some foil, then another layer, and then the cotton sheet mask. It provided some moderate hydration, maybe a little bit of brightening, but I feel like most of what I was paying for here is the kind of gimmickiness of the style of the mask. They claim that it's supposed to be self-warming, but then when you read into it and actually put it on, all it is your face is getting hot because you've got this layer of foil that doesn't have any way to release the heat or disperse the heat. So your natural body heat is just kind of heating up the foil in the mask. So I don't know, it just seemed like a little bit too much marketing put into this particular mask from MetaHeal. I might have another one later on that I have a different opinion about, but this one was a pass for me. Secris, I got this as a free gift from my Joel's order. It's their white pearl mask from, I forget what the line is called, but this is like a particular like something essence line. There's a whole bunch of different flavors of this mask. Even though it had a higher concentration of white or of pearl extract than I'm used to seeing in a sheet mask, didn't see too much in the way of brightening, maybe just some mild hydration, that watery hydration that either evaporates quickly or you really need to lock it in with a moisturizer. So it was just a super basic mask that didn't impress me. I guess it should be a win because I got it for free, but I looked it up elsewhere and I just didn't feel like a very high quality mask to me, so this one was a no-go. The Face Story Be Bright Be You foil mask was only one of 2 Face Story masks that I have used I haven't used their whole Face Story line, but I've used a good portion of it. This was one of the 2 that I didn't like. It's another foil mask. I don't know, maybe I'm just not a foil mask guy, but even with all of the niacinamide in here and citrus extracts and brightening ingredients, it didn't really brighten my skin that much. And the excess essence, as soon as I took the mask off, it was like, pfft, it was just kind of gone. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I didn't, what happened to everything? So it just really didn't do much for my skin. I feel like it was just kind of a nothing step. So like I said, I love that brand. I just resubscribed to a couple of their subscription boxes, so I trust them. This one was just a random kind of isolated fail, I guess, this month for sheet masking. And then this one is the Huangji Sol. This is the Centella Repairing Mask. This is a calming and soothing and reparative mask that features Centella asiatica. You've also got mushroom extract in here, aloe leaf extract, licorice root extract, white mulberry extract, a lot of things to help hydrate, soothe, and calm the skin. This one had like kind of a creamy essence or serum to it that I really liked. And they call their mask a lingerie skin fit sheet, which, it does fit really, really well. I appreciated how well this mask fit, but I think that's just funny. But aside from providing some nice hydration and nourishment, I had a way worse streaks of redness here and here at the time that I used this, and this really didn't seem to help calm or soothe those. So because it's supposed to be, focus on barrier strengthening and repairing and soothing and calming, really didn't see much of that. Maybe this is something that I would need to use over the course of several weeks or a month, almost like I would a serum, to see those types of benefits. So this might be a more long-term mask, but for one-time use, it just really didn't deliver on what you're reading on the face of the package. So that was another pass. And then finally, we have the Manifit Bling Bling Hydrogel Mask. This is the Wrinkle Gold Lift and Smooth. I have done a lot of looking into Manifit because it doesn't look like SocoGlam carries them anymore. I used to see another version of their masks at CVS. I don't see them anymore. I can't find them very readily available online anymore, so I don't know if they're still a brand or if they just pulled out of the US or SocoGlam stopped partnering or distributing their products. But it's kind of a bummer because I really, really loved the green tea pore care plus moisturizing mask. It was a collaboration between Manifit and Charlotte Cho of SocoGlam, and it was this wonderful calming and soothing and hydrating hydrogel mask that had little bits of green tea in it. And I really loved that mask. I named it my favorite for 2018, and I just can't find it anymore. It's not on SocoGlam's site. I might need to email them and figure out what happened to Manifit, because this was like one of the first sheet mask brands that I used when I started a Korean beauty routine, so it's very nostalgic for me. Having said all that, I got this as a free gift in my most recent SocoGlam order. Maybe they're just trying to clear out the last few that they have, and I didn't like it. The hydrogel wasn't really soaked in serum or essence, which I don't remember if they were before. But when I removed this mask, once again, my skin almost felt slightly damp and dewy, but it kind of felt the same as it did beforehand. It wasn't that super like plump, like chok feeling that you get when you use like a really damp, hydrated mask that just has a ton of essence. So and I didn't see it much in the way of brightening or lifting, maybe a little bit of like a softening feeling to the skin. So maybe it was the first mask that I used, and so I used when I started a K-beauty routine. So maybe I just have this nostalgia for it, and maybe it was really good at the time because I had only used a few sheet masks, and now that I have more experience, it's not as awesome as I thought it was. Or maybe this was an older mask and they're just trying to clear them out. The expiration date is, the production date was 2018. So yeah, I guess we're coming up to like the end of this guy's life cycle. So maybe that's why it wasn't as saturated. I don't know. I'm just bummed because in my head, I was like, oh, sweet memories. And then I took it off and I was like, oh, sweet memories. So it just wasn't, I don't know. I want to find out about this brand though. Where did it go, Charlotte? Where did it go? Anyway, here's the sheet masks that I did like. This is the XOY Calendula mask, soothing and moisturizing. Super straightforward, basic cotton style mask material, just packed full of calendula extract, rose water, niacinamide. You've got hemp extract, honey, eucalyptus, Centella asiatica, tea tree extract, honeysuckle. It just had all of those nicely hydrating, nourishing, reparative, soothing ingredients in a very high concentrated way. And I loved it. My skin felt really soothed and calm afterwards, also well hydrated. So this is absolutely one I would come back to. I got this off of Face Story. Another mask, this one from the actual brand Face Story, is their SOS Restoring Mask. This is a little bit of a heavier, creamier kind of essence and serum with a slightly thicker mask material as well, or a kind of middle of the road mask material thickness. You've got shea butter, royal jelly, aloe, I think there's propolis in here. No, maybe just the royal jelly, jojoba seed oil, witch hazel. I love masks, or I'm kind of falling in love with masks these days that have ingredients like royal jelly, like shea butter, like jojoba seed oil that can provide a bit of an occlusive or emollient piece to it, to lock in the hydration from things like aloe, even things like water, glycerin, all of those things that could potentially evaporate from the skin. Those products like your honeys and your jojoba seed oil, squalane, shea butter, they help to hold that to the skin so you really see the benefits. So this is almost like an essence plus a light moisturizer or a decent moisturizer in one. It kind of does both. And so my skin just looks so plumped and restored and bright and healthy and dewy and shiny after this mask. I would absolutely come back to this one over and over again. All right, 4 more. This is the Liagen. This is their Nourishing Care Red Ginseng Mask. This one had, even though it has red ginseng in it, it had kind of a lighter, fresh scent. I was expecting a balm of like hanbang, like just herbal, but I didn't get that. However, it also includes some fermented ingredients, Centella asiatica, rosemary. It's also got licorice root, if I didn't mention that, and pearl powder, and lots of other kind of like herbal medicinal extracts. I found this one to be very calming and hydrating more than anything else. And it says it promotes vitality, but I think this is another mask that these ingredients would be absolutely amazing as a serum or an essence or even a moisturizer and to be used over time. So I think that if you get like a set of 10 of these or a set of 5 and really incorporate them into your routine in a consistent manner, you'll see a lot of awesome benefits from these ingredients. Another one that I got from Face Story. This one is the Clavu White Pearlsation Enriched Divine Pearl Serum Mask. I got this from Soko Glam a long time ago. I actually had to use, well, it doesn't expire till next year, but I organized by purchase date, and this was like one of the oldest ones in my collection. So this one has niacinamide, once again, pearl extract, grapefruit, sodium hyaluronate. It's also got shea butter in it, which is one of my yes ingredients. So it performed really well. I felt like my skin was nourished and hydrated. Once again, I'm loving shea butter or jojoba oil in sheet masks right now. And so it did really, really well and provided maybe a little bit of brightening. However, I checked on Soko Glam and this thing is $9. I don't think I paid that much for this. Maybe I got it as part of a gift set, but I don't see myself paying $9 for one sheet mask, at least not in this right now. And I wouldn't recommend anybody spending $9 on this for what it did. Go and get yourself, I think this was $2.50. Go and get yourself an SOS mask because this actually was better in every aspect than the Clavu White Pearlsation. It worked. I liked it, but that's too pricey. At first I was like, is that an error on Soko Glam? Because I went back to check the price and I think that's the price. So yeah. Last two. I used this one today. This is the Vivloss Luxury Prestige Mask. Doesn't that sound so fancy? this is a foil mask that I actually like, so hey, there you go. This one, niacinamide, tons of fermented ingredients, fermented black tea, you've got licorice, fermented ginseng root, ginkgo biloba in here, pumpkin fruit extract, yeast ferment filtrates, anise extract, caviar extract, soybean ferment filtrate, and a ton of peptides. So this one doesn't have a lot of those emollient ingredients, but I loved the watery, lightweight serum, and there was a ton of it. I had to take the mask out, set it aside, squeeze out a ton of essence, get that all on, and then put the mask on top of it because that foil just won't let things through. And after I took this off, my skin felt super, super drenched in hydration. I could just massage that excess essence in for quite some time and then slap on a nice moisturizer, and I'm good to go for the day as far as my hydration. So I really liked this. The gold foil it's always a fun touch. I just don't know if it necessarily translates to effectiveness, but it was a fun touch. I paid $5 for this at a local gift store that has a lot of K-beauty and then some like other gifts and teas and stuff. So $5, I think this might be a special occasion mask that I'd come to just to feel a little fancy from time to time, but I wouldn't go grab a bunch of these. But yeah, it worked pretty decently, didn't mind it. And then the last one is MetaHeal's NMF Aqua Ring Ampule Mask. This is something that I've used time and time again. I had like a 10 or a 20 pack of them. And anytime my skin is just parched or just needs to be like doused in hydration, and then I can lock that in with a nice moisturizer, this is just a classic go-to. It's never irritated my skin. I can leave it on for 30 minutes because it's that soaked in essence. Witch hazel, rose flower water, mushroom extract, sweet almond extract, sodium hyaluronate. It's just got a lot of those classic basic hydrators, but there's just so much of it in each of these. So this one and the tea tree MetaHeal mask are probably my two favorites that I'll keep coming back to and stocking up on when I can. So that is it. That is all my empties for the month of March. I've got a couple things that are just about empty, so I'm hoping to have a toner, an essence, and a couple other products for you guys. Next month, I should have a bit more. I wanted to mention the reason why I'm considering this an empty, and I really, really liked it, is because I have a friend who I think could really benefit from this oil cleanser. She has super sensitive skin that reacts to a lot of different things. So as long as she's okay with the oils, I'm gonna have her patch test it. I think she might do really well with this. So that's why I decided to hold off, is her skin's pretty finicky. And so if there's a product that I find that I'm like, ooh, I think she might like that, I usually do my month testing and then I set it aside because it's just so hit and miss with her skin. So looking out for you, Kirsten. Anyway, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching today's video, and as always, stay glowing. Bye.